Greetings ladies and gentlefish, and in this video I thought I'd bring you a pair of games showcasing the British Cromwells. Plural, of course, because there are two in the game, and people often compare the two, and so it seemed like a reasonable opportunity to show games back to back in each of them. So we're kicking off with a game that I played. This is in the Cromwell Berlin, so this is the Tier 6 British premium tank. That it's not for regular sale in the gift shop, but it does occasionally make it normally for specials for limited amount of time, you know. It was in the advent calendar at Christmas, for example. And this is, to all intents and purposes, a regular Cromwell, which is, of course, one of the Tier 6 British medium tanks, just with a new paint job, basically. And so in this game I'm top tier, which is nice, and we're here on Mines, which is a very, very small map. Now the Cromwell, as for those of you who don't know anything about it, either version of the Cromwell, as you can see, it's fast. Doesn't matter which version you're playing, it's a very, very fast machine. Hello Mr. M8, how are you today? The gun takes forever to aim, terrible gun stats. And can I finish this guy off? Yes I can, for kill number 1. The accuracy on it is alright. The DPM on it is very good indeed for a Tier 6 medium tank. Alpha damage, perfectly fine for a 75mm gun. So we've just killed him, and basically I'm going to use the hill up here to bully all of these enemy tanks who've come over toward the town. And this is why a lot of the time the town is not a particularly great place to come to, because, well, someone like me will come up onto the hill and just beat the ever-loving stuffing out of you. There we go, there's all of the health taken away from that KV-1. Now, unfortunately, that ELC got himself killed in a very unfortunate position, and those guys are now looking up in my general direction. Really don't want to pop over and start eating, you know, 90mm shells to the face. That's just not a particularly good life plan. So I decide to relocate. Go somewhere else, or at the very least, you know, have a look around, see what else is about, and give those guys down there enough time to forget that I exist. Now the scoreline is 5-3. This is going to be quite a quick game, I'll be honest with you. 7-3, see? Spotted the enemy T-150. There's a shot into him. Being a little careful here because, of course, there are those two artillery on the enemy team, and they've already demonstrated that they do have their eye on me. So I don't really want to eat either of those shells. So yeah, the Cromwell. It's... ooh, hello Mr. KV-1S. The Cromwell is very fast, and actually has a pretty good gun. Well, that sounds great, you might be saying. Are there any downsides? Well, yes, there are. The armour is absolutely horrendous. You know, I've one-shot these tanks with a KV-2 before, and, like I said, the artillery has it in for me. I decided to repair the track so that I can damage that T-150, and there is the artillery in question. Now, he's no longer spotted. That, of course, does not mean that he's no longer there. He manages to land a shot in my vicinity, shaving off a bit more of my health, but I shave off the rest of his and get the kill. So that's kill number 3. Now there's that T-150 from earlier on. There's an SU-100. See if we can get some damage on the T-150. Nah, we miss. Enemy artillery reveals himself by nailing that Stug. And here we go. There's one shot. And one more. There we go. There's kill number 4. So there's both of the artillery dealt with. There are, of course, still enemy tank destroyers that we should be wary of, among other things. So it's not as if, you know, we're completely safe or anything, but not having to worry about the artillery is quite nice. Now, KV-1S was in a relatively safe position, but he's not anymore. And this guy is apparently just going to sit there, switching fire to the T-150 as he's a more valuable target. You know, Tier 6 heavy versus Tier 5, and we pick up the kill on the T-150. There's kill number 5. And I take a shot in the bum, which is a little unfortunate. Probably from that SU-100. Felt like he's using a 100mm gun rather than the 122. The 122 would have hurt considerably more. Bounce that shot on the M6's turret, pick out his commander's hatch. Probably could have penetrated his engine deck from there, but never mind. And there's my top gun. Seeing if I can damage the Jackson. There we go. One more shot to finish this guy. Don't want to shoot in the gun mantlet. So we just shoot through the turret front. There's kill number 7. KV1S. He's the chap from earlier on, and there we go. We're just going to put shots into his bum. Second shot, 2 more shots on average to finish this guy off. Oh, high roll. Only needed the 1 shot then. There's the 8th kill. And that just leaves the SU-100 over there tangling with our VK, but I'm not going to get there in time to do anything about it. And that is the game. So there we go. A fairly nice quick game there, just showing you the Cromwell Berlin. Let's go and have a look at the post-game results. So here we go. That wasn't exactly the most challenging game I've ever played. It wasn't a hard, you know, a massively outnumbered carry or anything like that. But, you know, we definitely pulled our weight, as you will see. It was definitely a success. So, how did we do? Well, as you can see, that was enough for another ace tanker in the Cromwell Berlin. I think at the time of me showing this video, this is the 3rd ace tanker I've shown you that I've got in this tank. Master Gunner, Duelist, Fire for Effect, Bruiser, High Caliber Top Gun, and of course, those very sought after Radley Walters medals for 8 kills. It's weird, it took me 18,000 games to get my first Radley Walters medal, and now I seem to be showing you games where I get a Radley Walters medal, well, not on a regular basis, but they certainly happen. So, as you can see from the score screen, that was a little bit of a carry on my part, even if it wasn't, you know, right down to the wire at the end. 2,662 damage done, 8 kills, 1,374 base experience, easily outstripping anyone else on our team. In fact, that's more than twice the XP of the guy who came second on our team. And in terms of damage, it's more than twice the damage of the guy who did the second most amount of damage in the game, which was the enemy M6. 28 shots fired, 25 hits, 24 pens for that damage count. Most of it was from relatively close range. 2 hits received, 2 pens, and 2 hits as a result of splash damage. 4 enemy tanks spotted, 8 killed, 8 destroyed, and a little bit of assistance damage into the bargain, and we made a 39,000 credit profit. Cromwell Berlin is a premium tank at tier 6. The credit enhancement for a tier 6 premium isn't that substantial. So, you know, you're not going to make shed tons of money, although you can see if I'd been running a premium account that would have been a 61,000 credit profit, not income, profit. Times the experience event on at the time to rake in a bit more XP, and that ended up being a very nice result. So, that's the first game in the Cromwell Berlin. Now let's switch it up a little bit and show you the regular Cromwell. Here is the second game then. This is, as I said, in the regular Cromwell, the tier 6 British medium tank. And this is driven for us today by Lurky 5500. Now, I will actually say that Lurky, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that name, I'll be honest. Which is good, because he has actually changed his name since playing this game. He is now called Polestar Blue, so I'm going to be referring to him as Polestar throughout this game, which I can pronounce, which makes my life a bit easier. And he clearly likes his Cromwell, as you can see there, 2 nice little rings on the side of his gun barrel, and Fireball inscription on the side of the turret. He is here on the highway map, and this is a tier 6 maximum game, so he is top tier. And you can see just at how fast the Cromwell's got on here that it is, you know, very, very quick. As was the Cromwell Berlin in the previous game. And what I really want to highlight, I guess, with these 2 games, showing them back to back like this, is just that despite some people's reservations that the Cromwell Berlin is somehow better than the regular Cromwell, they are to all intents and purposes the same tank, with a couple of small differences here or there. So, nothing appears to be ahead of Polestar, so he's going to move forward to engage the bad guys. There is a mighty Flat Panzer. Not a particularly popular machine, but as some of you who've been with me a little longer may well know, it's one of my favourite tier 6 machines. Takes a shot there. He hasn't let that shot aim though, so it's actually rather lucky that he hits, and again with the second shot. Cromwell gets, if I remember correctly, 8 degrees of gun depression, so that's certainly enough to do some good work with. T-28 away in the distance, gets the kill, taking quite a few shots from third person, which surprised me a little bit. Against that T-28, I personally would have scoped in. And moving in on this Jagdpanzer IV and the enemy Cromwell, both of these guys are pretty screwed. I mean, Polestar should be able to solo these chaps, not that he has to. A very lucky bounce there from the Hellcat. And the Hellcat is actually using the stock gun, or one of the 76mm guns. It's not the big 90mm. It didn't sound like the 90mm, and the damage Polestar took from that one hit meant it definitely wasn't the 90mm. There is the SU-100 packing the big 122mm death stick. Completely flubs his play though, and Polestar can just get behind him and kill this guy at his leisure, but apparently the rest of the enemy team has thoughts on the matter. Puts a shot into the Chaffee, finishes off the Chaffee. The OI flubs his shot, and if the OI is using that howitzer, as he looks and sounds like he is, then that is his lot. Polestar loading the APCR rounds, because screw the OI and its 150mm of frontal armour at tier 6. Screw you, 200mm of APCR penetration to the face. There's kill number 5, and back to the armour piercing rounds. M44 spotted. What I find interesting is that despite the terrible bloom values on the gun on the Cromwell, Polestar is actually not stopping for anyone here. He's taking a lot of shots on the move and being successful with them. Now, I say that the Cromwell's bloom values are terrible, and they are. I.e. that means, you know, the aiming reticule blooms horrifically when you turn the turret or traverse the hull or anything, but they are actually better than the Cromwell Berlins from the previous game. So, you know, there's one of the small differences between the tanks that plays out in the Cromwell's favour. Gunning along here at 60-something kilometres an hour. Oh, this T-80 could really ruin him, but the T-80 is using the autocannon, and the T-80 flubbed his shots. And he is sacrificed to Polestar's kill count and becomes victim number 7. 5 of the enemy tanks remaining. Considering how dodgy this game was looking, it's been a great comeback from the allied team, due in no small part to Polestar being an utter boss. Can he nail the SU-5? Oh, Jagdpanzer 4 takes that kill away. Take my kill away. I'm going to stop singing. So that just leaves the 4 of them. They are, however, all top tier. They have guns perfectly capable of taking off the 29 remaining HP that Polestar has, even firing high explosive rounds. In fact, in the case of the KV-2 firing HE, he could do that even if Polestar were on full health. Hellcat has been spotted. Now, if he's going to engage the Hellcat, Polestar could be loading HE rounds there, but he actually decides to engage the VK. Kill number 8. 3 of them remain. Be a real shame to die now. So, Polestar doesn't really want to hang around for too long. Hellcat is getting worked over. HE rounds against the Hellcat would do the job nicely, but they're not necessary anymore. Can Polestar pick up his 9th kill? Yes, he can. 2 of them remain. And, oh Christ, KV-2. That guy doesn't even, assuming he's using the howitzer, that guy doesn't even have to hit Polestar in order to take him out of the game. KV-85 has also been spotted. There he is. Polestar is coming in. KV-2 is looking the other way. And, oh, KV-2 can't put HE rounds through the barricade there. Can Polestar pick up the kill? Yes, he can, and that is the game. Whew, bit of a frantic one. Fast. But unlike the previous game, Polestar, you know, that game wasn't a foregone conclusion, if you will. The game I played in the Cromwell Berlin in this video was very much just farming the enemy for kills. This wasn't, even though that's what Polestar effectively did. Anyway, let's go and have a look at the results for this one. A very nice and impressive result there from Polestar, picking himself up. Ace Tanker, Spotter, Bruiser, Duelist, Fire for Effect, High Caliber, Top Gun, and a medal that I have never received in my 23,000 battles, a Pools medal awarded for destroying 10 or more enemy tanks and self-propelled guns with any vehicle, but the targets must be at least tier 4. So there we go. I've only ever had 10 kills in a tier 3 machine myself. If we order it by experience, 2,845 damage done, 10 kills, 1,752 base experience. Polestar just absolutely owned that game. He really did. A very nice game to see, and very mobile, very action-packed, if you will. None of this camping nonsense. It was really good to see. 32 shots fired, 25 hits, 25 pens for that damage count, most of it from basically point blank range. Blocked one 76mm shell with his armour, which was rather lucky, but we'll take it. Picked up 1200 assistance damage into the bargain, a 51,000 credit profit with the premium account, and with the ×3 experience event that was on at the time, 7,884 experience, plus some free XP. So yeah, really tasty result. So I hope you guys, and a massive congratulations by the way, that's a fantastic game. I hope you guys enjoyed both of those games, showing a bit of Cromwell related action. If you did, by all means feel free to catch some of my other videos and or subscribe to my channel, and I wish you very happy hunting on that battlefield. Ciao ciao.